We're here with Siggi Baldursson, who is a legend in the music world. He co-founded the Sugarcubes. He has been in several different bands. In fact, has a connection to Madison, our like Midwestern area. We'll talk about that in a second. And in addition to that, you've done soundtracks, you've done TV. I mean, basically, and also anything that has to do with Iceland music, he's the man you want to know. He's now the managing director of Iceland music, correct?
Yeah.
I thought we might start first with maybe, for people who aren't familiar, what Iceland music is. You could maybe give us a little bit about that.
Iceland Music is a little promotional and information office about Icelandic music. Back and forth. We run two websites, one in English, icelandmusic.is, which is basically a little portal into the Icelandic music scene. And the other one is called utton.is, but you don't need to know that because that's in Icelandic. And that's basically an information agency for Icelandic musicians eager to export.
Now, there's an initiative you wanted to ask about that they're...
So you just started this initiative. It's called Record Iceland.
Right.
So Record Iceland is you're trying to get people from all over the world to come to Iceland and record.
Yes, it's basically a rebate system that the government is offering now. They've been doing this for 13 years for the film industry, and it's proved very well there, proven itself very well. And we decided to extend that to recording studios in Iceland. So we're offering people a 25% rebate on recording in Iceland, and that includes your flights and accommodation.
Okay, and it's literally just a cash rebate. So they basically will pay the studio the full price, and then the government gives them a 25% cash rebate.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry about that.
You need to have all the receipts though in order for that to work.
One thing I wanted to ask is that obviously music means a lot to people all over the world. It touches people, and it's a very important part of people's lives. But in Iceland, it seems like it is a massive part of the culture. Can you explain why Icelandic? What's the connection there, and why is it? It seems like almost every person per capita. Most people in Iceland are in a band or started as a musician at some sort in their lives.
Good question. It's just a popular pastime, really. People love making music here and all sorts of arts, really. In small communities like ours, it's often the case that people grow up doing more than one thing, and not only grow up, but end up sort of doing more than one thing because these small societies aren't as specialized as big societies. So that also reflects on the fact that more people have either access to music or have friends that do music or sort of get roped into that because it's sort of a popular thing to do.
I have actually a question about the Record in Iceland aspect too, and also with what he was talking about Iceland being sort of a prevalent place for everybody's a musician here. What would be the advantage outside of getting that 25% rebate? Like, why would you want to record in Iceland if you're from like another country, for example?
Yeah, it's an inspiring place to come and work. There are great studios here, and there's some great musicians here, actually. It's a very easy place to work because if you need there's always just around the corner that one weirdo that just does that one weird thing. And it's a really easy access to all sorts of people. And it's, primarily it's fun.
How many, is it every studio in Iceland, or are there only specific ones that are involved with this?
It's basically every studio. You can come here and record anywhere, really. We have, as of now, we have, I think, 6 or 7 studios, 6 maybe, on our website, the Record in Iceland website, and we're constantly adding more. But we just, to begin with, had 5 or 6 that are sort of the ones that are most used to doing international projects.
Are there specific criteria? Like you can't just like Ian and I, let's say we want to cut a demo, just like one song, we're gonna rap right now. Can we get 25% off just by doing that?
No. That's the thing. With incentives like this, they usually have small print. And part of the small print is that you have to record 30 minutes of music.
We can do that. We can do that.
Yeah, you can rap for 30 minutes.
I wrote an opus of.
Yeah. If you rap for 30 minutes, I don't think that'll be a problem.
Okay.
You might be hard pressed to find a studio that can accommodate you today. I think there are a few bands that are actually trying to record here as well that are coming over for airwaves.
Did you have any questions on that? Because I was going to go into.
I was going to say, so basically, there becomes like hot spots all around the world of like cool places to record,
Right.
like maybe like in the 1970s, like Berlin, like that became like a really big hot spot. Like I know Bowie, and a lot of other people went there. U2, yeah, absolutely. And then like one of the places now on Earth is like everybody wants to go to Nashville. I mean, it's always been a music town, but why do you think Reykjavik is like it's becoming an international music town?
That's a good question. There's a lot of, as I said earlier, there's a lot of ridiculously talented people here that do all sorts of stuff, and it's got a vibe about it that's really open, and anything from like Japanese death metal to soundtrack music and anything in between, singer-songwriters, what have you. And there's basically a creative vibe here that is very interesting to tap into.
Has it not? But it's kind of almost always seemed like it's done that. I mean, you guys were a catalyst with that, with the Sugarcubes. It's like it started here, and then you guys kind of pushed out to London, and it kind of grew from there, right?
Exactly. This is sort of also part of a policy that we're running here at Iceland Music, is to create more incentives locally now. We want to see more local, small companies doing music from Reykjavik internationally, business-wise. That's why we're also running a small business accelerator called Firestarter, which is presenting at Airwaves as well.
That's cool. Do you have some of those? You want to do some of those short questions?
Yeah. I also, well, before that, I have to ask you, are you working on any new music projects?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to give us a scoop on that?
No.
Are you the secret guest
Or
that's
is
playing at Keck's Hostel?
Right. I'm doing some recordings of what I call psychedelic krautrock. But that's sort of super special and I'm hoping to release some stuff next year. 2020 is going to be my year for releasing some psychedelia and some personal psychedelia. And I'm also working on some jazz recordings. I collaborate with composer Thomas Reynarsson, for instance, regularly. I'm his congero, so I come and play congas for him. I enjoy that immensely. And I work on sort of various recordings with friends, but no big sort of, I don't tour anymore, anything like that. Just in it for the fun.
Well, you're also very busy here. People need you around here versus like, not that we don't want you to come to the States. I'm sorry. I am going to ask one more question, but
Okay.
did you?
I was just going to say, speaking of it, like it was like 30 years ago this last summer when I actually saw you guys for the very first time. You were on tour with New Order and Public Image Limited. And one of the things that always was very striking about that whole cycle of music was the amazing artwork that seemed to go along with the music. So like you were obviously on tour with two bands that have amazing, can we say branding? Because of New Order with like factory records and like everything had a look and a feel to it with this like the stuff. And then like with Public Image Limited, probably one of the coolest logos of all time in rock and roll. And then with the Sugarcubes, it was like literally the artwork for Life's Too Good popped off of the vinyl jacket, the cover album or the cover, so much so that you could almost like understand what you guys were trying to do by just looking at the record before I actually heard the music.
Okay.
I guess the question is like was there a very much a conscious effort to try to create art visually that went along with the sounds of the record?
No, that's a very good question. Yes, of course there was. However, there was an artist that created that cover art. It wasn't created by us, but
Right.
it was inspired by us, and he came and hung out with us in Reykjavik and stuff before he actually created that. And so it does capture, I think it's lovely art. It does capture a bit of the vibe of the band in many senses. But I mean, we were always into art. We were not so much musos as sort of artists, really, in the sense we created a coalition called Bad Taste, which then morphed into a record label, which morphed then into a record store. Still exists.
Say it in Icelandic.
Smakkleysa.
We need to go there.
We are going there. I go every year. It's wonderful.
Now it's across from Menki.
Oh, did it move from
It
last
moved up-
year?
Yes,
Okay.
moved from Laugaveur up to Óðinsgata. But we created like this coalition of artists in Reykjavik back in '86, when we were like early 20s. And we just wanted to sort of ask some serious questions about sort of good taste. What is good taste in art? And like you do when you're 20 years old, you want to create a personal revolution. And so that was fun, but it also taught us some funny lessons. We decided to form, however, a pop band to make money for the organization, and that sort of began as a tongue-in-cheek thing, but it sort of took off more than I think we imagined at the time.
You ready? So I wanted to ask you, so we are sitting on the cusp of the 2010s being over. So I thought I would ask you a few questions of reflection, but also maybe some predictions, because again, you are the man who knows everything about music here. So I wanted to ask you first, and this may be a little difficult, you might need a second for this one. What would you say is one of your most memorable moments, and it doesn't have to be from you, it could be from something you saw over airwaves in the 2010s?
Oh.
I mean, I've seen so many amazing things, it's hard to pin down to one, but is there one that just sort of springs to mind right now?
That's a very good question.
I mean, so many
Yeah, well,
memories.
I'll never forget the PJ Harvey show. That was a landmark for me. First time I saw PJ Harvey, and it completely blew my mind.
Oh, it was a great show.
I thought it was absolutely stunning. Kraftwerk was awesome. Seeing Björk with just the string orchestra, I think, was awesome.
I was a puddle on the floor at that. It was beautiful.
No, it was beautiful, and that record is so emotional, and it was such an experience to see. But many good things. I mean, I remember the Siguró show in 2004, which was a landmark. Or was it 2003? No, 2004, I think. And a host of interesting stuff. It's hard to sort of pick
One.
Yes, because you always, once you start picking stuff, you start remembering stuff that you're leaving out. But I'll just stop it there, otherwise I'll be yapping on for a long time.
How about, do you have a favorite album, Icelandic album from the 2010s? That may be tough too, because you have to, I'm not wanting you to pick a favorite, but is there one that just
Don't
sort
pick a
of
favorite.
like,
Pick a favorite.
one that that maybe resonates? Because sometimes there's that one album that you literally have listened to constantly for a decade.
Right.
No, yeah, I mean, there is one great record that had fantastic potential, and a band that has fantastic potential, always has. They have, however, a name that's completely unpronounceable, and they're called Hjaltalín. And
We're going to talk to them.
Yes, okay, because they're doing a comeback now. They made a wonderful record called Enter 4 back in, I think, 2014, which was a seminal record. Great, a sort of piece of Icelandic music that I thought was sadly overlooked. I always thought they'd be world famous. It was sort of the I don't know, many people called them the sort of Arcade Fire of Iceland, but they were, and still are, I think, a fantastic band.
Yeah, I'm excited. They have Baroness, that new single that
Yeah.
just came out. So yeah, we're excited to talk to them. I'm trying to think. Oh,
Love in 99 actually just came out
oh,
this summer.
is that one great too? I have to
That's
take a
more of a
listen.
party tune.
So how about, now that we've reflected a little bit on the past, what are do you have like, I mean, obviously we have this initiative, Record in Iceland, coming up through Iceland Music, but what is something that you're hoping to attain or see happen in the next decade, for you musically or for your organization musically?
I think we'll see strengthening of the infrastructure here, because that's sort of what we need to do and what we're focusing on. Both these projects, both Record in Iceland and Firestarter, are sort of designed to strengthen the infrastructure here. Because we need in the near future to do more exporting of Icelandic music from Iceland. We're going to see more live streaming, because we also need to start looking at our carbon emissions in different ways. There are some big questions in the near future, and I'm hoping that Iceland can actually take more of a stance in creative solutions, not just in the music sector, but also in the energy sector and other sectors, because I know that's what our government is interested in trying to do.
Perfect.
Awesome.
This was great.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Yeah,
Thank you
Thank you
so
very much.
much.
fantastic. No, you're welcome. Pleasure, as always.
Thank you so much.